third video on how to develop speed, dexterity, accuracy in your left hand. And we've been talking about the first challenge being mental, the second one being a muscular thing where you have two patterns working against each other on multiple levels. The third is really a solution to all these challenges, and that is to get all the repetitions in that you need. Because most people ask questions of me, and my answer is you need to get more repetitions in. Because we have 10,000. They come to me and say, okay, I've did all this, and it still doesn't work, and go practice some more. And I'm sorry, but sometimes that's really the answer. And in this case, it's really impossible for most people if you have a full-time job. When I, developed my left-hand speed and ability, I had school to attend to, and I had homework to do, and chores at home, and all kinds of stuff at the same time. But I developed habits that were really invaluable, and I'm going to talk about two of them in this video. The first one was really something that most people shy away from or just discard as a funny little idea, but it's wildly effective, and it's a reason why I have the technique I have today. Because if I hadn't done that, all the time, all day, then it would have taken me just too long to develop the techniques. And so what is it? Well, it's basically a matter of training the impulses from the brain to your hand without your instrument, and to do it all day. And there are multiple ways of doing that. The first way is a matter of sending impulses to your fingers so you replicate the pattern you want to learn on the guitar. And this is wildly effective. You simply consider your thumb to be your fretboard, and then you touch the fretboard with the finger that needs to, if you're practicing a pattern like... Sorry. Something like that. This is the first, the fourth, the third, the fourth. First, 4, third, 4. And then you repeat it. So if that's the pattern, right? You have the first, the fourth, the third, the fourth. And so you touch your thumb with the first, touch your thumb with the third, fourth, third, and fourth. Da 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 da. You see, I've been doing this before. Don't expect yourself to be able to do it at the same tempo you can on the guitar, because this is a different discipline. But this is activating and programming your brain by sending nerve impulses to the right fingers in the right. And just imagine if you do this just at this tempo. In the beginning, it's going to be you're going to go very slowly, but you just do it consciously over and over and over again. And you put up reminders, because your life is kind of like a circle of stuff you do, and it draws you in, and you forget to do stuff like this. So you have to put up reminders in your phone, in your calendar, to do it, each 15 minutes of the day. You get an alarm if you can, or just make sure every time you look at your phone, there's going to be an alarm there, silent perhaps, that's going to remind you of doing this. You can do this in meetings, as you drive a car, as you do everything else, as you sit, in front of the computer. As soon as you're not typing, you do this. And if you do it enough, it becomes an automated habit that you cannot stop. Like a little piece of insanity that runs in your brain. There's just, I have to do this, sorry, I can't stop it. And as soon as you do that, guess what? You're guaranteed of success, because now you're going to do it, thousands and thousands and thousands of times without even thinking about it. And you can talk and smoke and do whatever you want as you cook, do the dishes. As long as you have your left hand free, you're doing this all the time. And so now you're practicing without thinking about it even. You're just programming, and that's what it takes. That's what it takes to develop left hand dexterity and precision and flexibility to the point where you cannot reach any higher, because you reach the full potential of what your body can actually do. And this is not a little funny thing, as I said. This is really serious. I mean this very, very seriously. So if you're not doing this already, if you're playing guitar and you really want to become as good as you can, you must always have a habit like this. People have shaken their heads at me and said, you're crazy, because they see, what are you doing with your fingers all the time? And I still do that. Yeah, I've been doing it so much that even though I'm not really working on developing my left-hand technique in these patterns anymore, I sometimes do it just when I'm idle, looking, watching TV, and my wife asks me, "What are you doing with your left hand?" And sorry, it's the thing, It's so deeply ingrained in my brain that I cannot stop it anymore. You can also do the most natural movement of da, and back again. So you go da, 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 da. First, second, third, fourth. and then third, second again, and go back and forth like that, and send nerve impulses. I'm pretty fast at that, and I'm not just doing this. There's really a nerve impulse for each finger that is moving. It's 4 different things here that's happening, and or you can go first, second, fourth, third. First, second, fourth, third. This is just a general exercise, you could call it, because I'm actually very rarely playing first. What was it? First, second, fourth, third. First, second. That's a cool exercise actually, but you have to focus on it being useful in the end as well. But it's really, and I can do this very rapidly, as you can see, because I've been doing it literally millions of times, maybe billions for that matter, because as the months go by and you do this unconsciously, you get in so many repetitions, it's a joke. And so when people come and ask me, I've been doing this 20,000 times, why am I not a master of it yet? Well, my friend, I've been doing this, 10 million times, literally. So, and it's easy, it's pleasurable. You can watch TV, you don't have to do anything. So just get started. But you have to put up reminders. You have to take this very seriously in the beginning, because you have to get to the point where it's unconscious, where you cannot stop doing it anymore, right? And just notice I could do this with my right hand as well, which is completely useless unless I'm playing a left-hand guitar. But it's just such an ingrained part of my patterns here that I just expand it to the right hand, right? So please develop these little fidgets here, as many as you can actually, but just start with one until you feel completely comfortable with one, then move on to a second one. It really, really works. I'm just going to give you one last thing here before I go. The next thing you can do is that you can visualize. If you're bored, waiting for the bus, sitting in the car, not knowing, and instead of turning on the radio or doing stupid stuff, then you can visualize yourself playing a pattern. So just close your eyes and visualize your fingers on the fretboard and just see yourself playing that pattern. And that also actually works because it's programming the brain. The brain cannot not send little nerve signals to your fingers as you drive your car, and you visualize first, fourth, third, fourth. First, fourth, third. And you don't close your eyes, but you can visualize as you drive, and you do that over and over and over again. It does 2 things, just like this does 2 things. First of all, it trains your brain to do it, and so the resistance you feel towards replacing an old pattern with a new one, as we talked about in the previous video, that's going to be lower drastically the more you do this, the more you do it with your fingers and in your mind. And you can do that all day. So when you're typing on a keyboard, it's hard to visualize if you have to use your brain for other stuff. But if you're, sitting in your car, you can actually tap the steering wheel as well and use that as your fretboard as you visualize as well. You see your fretboard, see your fingers, do that over and over again. It should become an obsession. And that's where the magic is. Because when we look at someone who can do incredible stuff on the fretboard, what you're looking at is an obsession. The only reason why he can do that is because he was obsessed by it. And what does that mean? It means you do it all the time in every single little hole you have of attention, or where you can use your left hand, you do it over and over and over and over again. And it's fun, it's engaging, and it's just, it's pure pleasure. So getting in, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million repetitions is nothing. It's just blah, right? So it does 2 things. First of all, it trains your nerve impulses, but it also raises the awareness in your brain. When you do something that much, when you focus on something that much, you're even focusing on it when you're doing other things. Your brain is, firing off these signals. So part of your brain is almost constantly focused on practicing, on these little exercises. And that really raises the level of importance that this has, because your brain is a economic saver, basically. It always tries to save resources on everything, on every organ in the body. It tries to put energy where it's needed. And when you raise the level of awareness you have for practicing guitar and that whole area, it's going to use more resources to give you what you want, because it becomes more important that you develop these skills. So it works in two very effective ways, and I warmly recommend this. So constantly visualize, or do the patterns on your thumb, and you can use a tabletop as well. You can use the steering wheel to and then focus on a single pattern. Each week decide on what pattern to practice, or each month practice the same pattern for a month, and then the next month until it's really easy, and do the same thing on the guitar as you practice other things, of course, but you have a major focus on that one pattern. I could talk for hours about this, but let's stop here and then develop a pattern. Set up as many reminders as you can everywhere, in your phone, on your desk, post-it notes, so you cannot forget to develop this pattern until it's unconscious. And then the path to left hand precision and dexterity is just it's guaranteed almost.